going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking some NFL. And here I've got a very special video because I've got a very special guest. We've got Liam Mitchell, who covers the Bucs like a blanket. This man knows everything about the Buccaneers, who are the Bears' Week 5 opponent. So I want to introduce Liam, and then we're going to get into this matchup in Week 5 between the Bucs and the Bears. So Liam, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me on, man. Super excited for the game on Thursday. I'm having a great day, and I'm ready to talk some Bucs Bears.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. So, look, before we get into the matchup, let's just talk about what's going on with this team, man, with the injury bug. It seems like, will you have any wide receivers play? Because if you don't, I'll be fine. I'm not complaining as a Bears fan, but what's going on with the injuries?
Yeah, I mean, short week. So today, our top 4 receivers did not practice. Evans, Godwin, Justin Watson, and Scotty Miller were all kept out of practice. Godwin's I'm definitely not going to be able to go on Thursday with that hamstring injury. I do think Evans and Miller will definitely be playing. Fournette should be coming back this week. But, you know, Evans battled through on Sunday with that ankle injury. So I think he'll play. It's just going to be no Godwin. And then obviously Howard's out for the season with that Achilles tendon. So Cameron Brate's got to step up. But our weapons are pretty depleted. Luckily, we're at least healthy on the defensive side of the ball. But, you know, we're going to see this week with all these injuries.
Let's hope so. Just quick follow-ups. So with O.J. Howard being out, you expect Brate to take more of a passing game role or Gronk?
I think Brate is. I think Brate's going to basically just immediately turn into that Howard spot. You know, he's not as physically gifted as O.J. Howard. He's not as fast. He's not nearly as good of a blocker. That's the biggest difference in Howard and Brate's game. But Brate can catch the ball. You know, I think a lot of fans outside of Tampa don't know much about Cameron Brate, but he's a good tight end. That was probably the deepest position on this team. So luckily we had him to step up, and Tanner Hudson will probably take some snaps now. But, you know, Gronk, man, hasn't done much this season. He's
been blocking.
I'm not gonna lie. He's looking kind of old, kind of slow, tight in the hips. So I think Cameron Brate will have just as much as a receiving threat as Gronk.
Yeah, I know when O.J. Howard went out, I made the joke that you guys have 15 tight ends just like the Bears do, so you'll be fine. Enough depth at the position. But speaking of the Bears, so look, I've been on the record saying that I believe the Bucs are a Super Bowl contender. People were already freaking out week 1 when they lost to the Saints, and I'm like, guys, just give it some time. This team's going to catch a rhythm. Obviously, they're dealing with injuries now, but once, you know, the season progresses, I think they're just going to get better and better, and Tom Brady's just going to get better and better. So I want to know from an outsider's perspective, though, what is your thoughts on the Bears? We're 3-1. Have we played the toughest schedule? No. But, again, it's a short menu in sports, right? Wins and losses. We are coming off a tough loss against the Colts. Quarterback change from Trubisky to Foles. Give me your kind of overall thoughts on the Bears and what you think of this team.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you mentioned the schedule. It's been a little bit weaker.
Yeah.
They caught kind of a break with DeAndre Swift dropping that pass in the end zone.
Not going to deny
They played the choke job Falcons, which, by the way, I love to see. I mean, I obviously despise the Falcons, so that was fantastic. But you know what? A win's a win in the NFL. It's not easy to start 3-0. I think they beat the Giants in week 2.
Yeah, they did. 3-0. We started 3-0, and then we lost to the Colts.
3-0 start, and then the loss to the Colts. You know, still a top 10 defense. I think you guys are, 9th in terms of yards and points. You know, you guys still have a great defense. Khalil Mack's still a great player. Akeem Hicks. That rookie, Jalen Johnson, looks really good for you guys.
He's been really
balling
good for
out.
us.
Obviously, Fuller's there. Still a good – Eddie Jackson's a beast. You guys have players on defense. And offensively –
let's talk about the offense. Let's talk about that quarterback change. Does Nick Foles scare you?
Nick Foles does not scare me.
Okay. You shouldn't.
Neither does Mitch Trubisky if he suddenly came into the game, even though he threw 6 touchdowns on us a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
But we got killed the last time we played in Chicago. Destroyed. Embarrassing, actually. Obviously, it's 2 years later. But, yeah, the offense doesn't scare me much. The thing about this Bucs defense is it's the best run defense in the NFL. It has been for the past couple of years. So you've got to beat the Bucs throwing the ball. And I just don't think Nick Foles and Allen Robinson as a whole scare me as a
Okay.
Bucs fan.
Just a follow up on that. When the quarterback switch was made, I mean, Chicago sports media went crazy, but from an outsider's perspective, do you think the Bears did the right thing? Was the hook for Mitchell Trubisky too quick? I mean, he was still undefeated when that happened. He got pulled in the middle of the Falcons game. Do you think it was the right move to go to Nick Foles?
You know, it's so tough. I do. I personally think Nick Foles is the better quarterback.
Okay.
I think he's the better quarterback, and he's proven it throughout times of his career. I think Trubisky had a higher QBR through this time than Foles has as well. Yeah. If I'm a Bucs fan though, I would rather be playing Trubisky than Foles. It's really close though. I don't
Okay.
it's tough because they're neither one of them.
Right.
We played Foles the past couple years, and we've beat them when he was in Philly early in 2018, and then last year with Jacksonville. Easy victories. Foles had a really bad game both times, so he doesn't scare me as a Bucs fan. If we want to win this game, it's how do we move the ball?
Right.
How do we move the ball offensively? You got to stop Khalil Mack because we've got to figure out how to stop Khalil Mack because he's going to eat on Donovan Smith. Because Donovan Smith is a weakness on this offense. He's played okay the past couple weeks, but he can get exposed when facing top-tier ends. For sure.
No, absolutely. So let's just get into the matchup now. You kind of already alluded to one of the key matchups here. So my biggest thing when I kind of gave my prediction for it, and we'll also give our prediction for this game and our score prediction, you mentioned it. You can't run on this Bucs defense. You just can't. Christian McCaffrey had like under 60 yards. I think Kamara had like less than 20 yards. I mean, Melvin Gordon shut down. Like, you can't run on the Bucs defense. So as much as I want the Bears to run the football, because our head coach, Matt Nagy, likes to throw way too damn much. Last week, only 10 rushes for Montgomery and 42 attempts for Nick Foles. Even if I want to, it's not going to be successful this week. So for the Bears, I think the key is to get the short, quick passing game going. I think you'll agree, at least the one threat we do have is Allen Robinson. Line him up everywhere on the field, try to do that. But am I going to say I'm confident in that? No. And I do think David Montgomery can catch the ball out of the backfield. So hopefully that's kind of how I hope this team moves the ball, kind of use the short passing game as an extension of the run game and move that down the field that way. Because, again, since you can't run, obviously you have to do it via the pass. And then defensively, like you mentioned, this Bears defense is still good. I don't think it's as good as 2018. But it's still solid. We're a bend but don't break defense. But here's the scary part. Phillip Rivers threw for 1 touchdown last week. Tom Brady is going to do more damage than that. So we can't expect this Bears defense to be lights out and just shut down Tom Brady because it's just not going to happen. And that's why it's so important to score on offense. So for me, I personally believe that the matchup here says the Bears are going to throw the ball and use a short, quick passing game. What do you kind of see from Tampa's side to win this game for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I agree with your statement on what can the Bears do to beat the Bucs. I think that's a great analysis, is the short, quick game. Because, I mean, Todd Bowles is going to dial up these blitzes. They're going to get back there quick.
Yeah. And our line can't protect. Last week, they were awful. So
exactly. Foles isn't going to have time to really throw these deep balls. He's going to have to get the ball out very fast. And this Bucs defense is extremely fast. It's what makes them so special. But, yeah, and for the Bucs, my biggest key is protecting Tom Brady. They did a fantastic job of that in the second half last week against a good front in San Diego. Or, sorry, L.A. I still say this harder from San Diego. But, yeah, so the key is what can we do to stop the likes of Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks? We send that tight end in there to chip on Mack, running back to chip on him. We've got to keep Tom protected because when he is protected, he is still lights out throwing some beautiful balls, man.
Yeah, so no, he's still good.
If Khalil Mack takes over, then we're going to have some problems. And I think it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game because with all the injuries going on with the Bucs and their weapons, and I still, even after a big game from Brady last week, still don't think this Bucs offense is where it could be. They struggled in the first half last week. So if the Bears can get in Tom Brady's face, get the Bucs out of a rhythm, and kind of, push them out of that, I think they're going to have at least a good chance to take the Bucs down.
So one thing I'm trying to figure out, last week against the Chargers, Brady had 5 touchdown passes. So does the Bucs team run through the passing game, or is it the running game? Like, are we going to see the two-headed monster with Jones and Fournette, or are we going to see Brady kind of just tear us apart through the air?
They're going to try and run. Bruce, we like throwing the ball. Bruce Arians likes throwing the ball. Him and Byron Leftwich. But they still try to establish the run. Rojo ran for over 100 yards last week. Fournette ran for over 100 a couple weeks ago. So they're still going to try and pound the run. And at least early on, I guarantee it's going to be a quick, short game from Brady dinking and dunking to the running backs and to the tight ends. And then eventually, if we need to, and the Bears start pressing the box more, then we'll start unleashing more deep balls. So It's going to start with the run, though.
No, that makes sense. And I wish I could say the same, but it's definitely not going to start with the run because we'll get stopped there. But overall, look, I've made my kind of claim into what I feel this is going to happen with this game. So I'm just going to go out and say it is I think the Bears lose this game. My final score prediction, and I'd like yours as well, is 24-14. So you mentioned low scoring. So I have it fairly low scoring as well. The Bears last week, the offense just didn't show up. So what is your prediction for this game?
I've been saying the same one all week, and I'll stick to it. So I'm not all over the place, but I got 20-16 Bucs. So I'm actually closer than you are in the score there. But I've been pretty close to my predictions so far this season. So hopefully it stands true again. But I think it's going to be pretty defensive on both ends. I think we're going to bring it. It's a short week. Bucs are banged up. We got to travel to Chicago.
Yeah. And do any of the injuries, like let's just say all your receivers are out, do you see any way with the injuries being out that, okay, the Bears can pull off this upset? Because it is a 6-point line. You guys are favored.
They could.
Okay.
I think they could. The thing I'm confident in is Tom Brady. And that even if Mike Evans can't handle that ankle injury anymore and he goes out, we got no O.J. Howard, Fournette's banged up, I don't doubt Tom Brady at this point in time.
Okay.
He's proved it time and time again. But,
I agree. And you guys have the
year for the Bucs. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and you guys have the Packers next week too, so it's gonna be crazy.
Big game,
big game. So hopefully you guys overlook us and we take it. But like I said, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna pick the Bears to win. Just before we close it out here, just 2 quick questions. Because I do love getting this outside perspective. Because a lot of times my comments, my DMs are always talking about, just Chicago sports fans. I want to know from the outside perspective, do you believe the Bears are a playoff team? And the second question is, do you believe Matt Nagy is a good head coach?
First question, I don't. And it's,
can I get a reasoning behind that? Go ahead. Yeah, please.
All you Bears fans out there, no disrespect. I just think offensively they don't have it. And there's a lot of good teams in the NFC this year. Green Bay, right now, they're clearly the best team in that division.
No arguments.
The NFC West is stacked. I guess the NFC East at least is terrible. And, hopefully the Saints can struggle. I definitely don't think they'll be winning the division. Hopefully they can sneak in as a wild card. I just don't think it's in the cards this year for the Bears. They just don't have it offensively. And like you said, that defense, I just don't think can really carry them like they did a couple years ago.
Totally agree. The only good thing is there's an extra wild card spot this year, so that's the only hope with the wild card.
There's that 7 seed now. Yep. The Bucs have been the 7 seed a couple times in the past decade.
Exactly. And then about Matt Nagy.
And then Nagy, I do like Nagy.
Okay.
I think he's okay. I think he's a very creative young coach that I don't know what the word is. What's Bears honest?
It's just that he's been claimed up to be this like offensive guru, and then we go out and now he gets his quarterback, by the way, because the deal with Mitchell Trubisky, right? And how people think about him. So you have your quarterback and you put up 3 points. Really, we got the 11 points in garbage time. So you're coming from this tree of offensive coaches, but you can't score points. So Bears fans, again, we think he's a good coach. We have a winning record with him, but they've just been soured a little bit. And it's funny, 3-0, we're going to the Super Bowl, and then you lose and fire everybody. Yeah, so I don't want to be the guy to overreact here. I'm trying to bring some perspective, but I also think that you can't be an offensive genius and put up 3 points.
Yeah, no matter what defense you're playing.
Right.
You make a good point there. I mean, you got to – no matter who you're playing, no matter who you got on your squad, 3 points is not going to get it done. But it's funny with, the fans. You lose one game, they'll lose their minds and act
exactly.
Like,
it happened. It happened to you guys in week 1. I'm sure.
Yeah. Some fans were like, oh, my God, Brady doesn't have it. He's done. It's come on. We didn't have a preseason. We were in New Orleans. It's not going to happen overnight. Tom Brady's not perfect. He's lost games throughout his career. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So there you have it, guys. Preview, hopefully, that you guys enjoyed for the Bucs and the Bears. Again, I'll just repeat my prediction, and then Liam, give yours as well. I said the Bucs win this game 24-14, and Liam has it
20-16.
20-16. So we both have it a low-scoring game. So if you are betting on this game, take the under. And let's see what happens there. But really appreciate you, Liam. Check out his channel, guys. I'm going to go ahead and link it down in the description below. If you guys want all the Bucs updates, man, he's the best guy to go for it. And he's part of the Fan to Fan network that we are both in. So, again, check those out. So appreciate that.
All right, thanks a lot for having me, man. You have a great night, and I can't wait for the game Thursday.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.